Tennessee did what they had to do against Virginia on the field this past weekend, and the Vols, they're off and running. Let's talk Tennessee recruiting today and bring on my guy, Austin Price of Volquest. Austin, Chris Cole commits in a week. We're going to find out if Tennessee is the favorite heading into that decision. But first, I want to ask you about Tulsa, Oklahoma, four-star edge Danny Akuye. Tennessee's been in a good spot for him. Visited Oklahoma this weekend. He's expected to be back at Tennessee later this month. Is this coming down to an Oklahoma-Tennessee battle? And when do you think he'll decide?
I do think that's the case. I feel like Tennessee's been in a good spot for Danny. I think Oklahoma's still continuing to push hard. Be interested to kind of see what his reaction is out of this Oklahoma battle. But I think it's a two-team race. He's going to visit Texas on the 16th. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't feel like that the Longhorns are as high up on his board as Tennessee and Oklahoma. So I think it's a two-team race, and I would say sometime early October.
All right, let's talk about four-star offensive tackle Jordan Seaton, one of the fastest rising prospects really heading into his senior year. He's at IMG Academy. He's about to take a tour of official visits. He's got 6 set for the fall. There's no more limits on how many you can take. So he's taking full advantage of that. Where does Tennessee stand with him? He's about to start this fall tour.
Well, it looks like he'll visit here in a few weeks, the weekend of the 23rd for the UTSA game. And, again, Tennessee's looking to make a big impression. It's a game that, everybody's calling a trap game. I'll say it's not a trap game because everybody's calling it a trap game. Tennessee's going to be well aware of who UTSA is going in. So it should be a good atmosphere. Second overall home game for Tennessee. And a chance to kind of leave an impression with the talented tackle from IMG. So I think they're in it. To be further in it, they need a big weekend coming up on the 23rd.
All right, so biggest competition for Jordan Seaton as you see it right now. Who's Tennessee's biggest comp?
Well, I don't know if there is with Akuye, you look at it and you go, Oklahoma's Tennessee's biggest competition. Yeah. With Cam Michael, you could say Texas A&M or Georgia. But when you're taking 6 official visits in the fall, and you've already taken some back in the summer, it just feels like this thing's wide open. So I'm not sure there is that guy's definitely, leaning here or there. I think this thing is totally wide open, could go a number of different directions.
Yeah, I get that. All right, let's move on to edge Cam Fountain. He comes out of Georgia. Tennessee was in a good spot for him until he committed to USC. Are the Volunteers still working to flip Cam Fountain from the Trojans?
Well, they're working to get him to campus, and I think that's where it starts. You've got to get him to campus sometime this fall. If you're able to do that, then you have a legitimate chance to potentially flip the Southern Cal commit. He had indicated to the staff that Tennessee was in a phenomenal spot when he left here at the end of May, went on his official visit the 1st of June, and committed to USC. So, again, I think that Tennessee's someone that he's always liked a ton, and the Vols are trying to get him here for a game this fall. Until he puts that kind of pen to paper, so to speak, with an official visit, it's kind of hard for me to say that Tennessee's definitely in a spot where they can flip him. But once he gets to campus, I think at that point, Tennessee is definitely lurking for Southern Cal.
Now, this weekend, Virginia 4-star linebacker Chris Cole will announce his decision. He took an official visit to USC this past weekend for their home opener, and he'll be in Knoxville this weekend. What's the latest intel on where Tennessee stands about 6 days out from a decision, 7 days out?
Well, I've always felt like this was going to come down to Tennessee and Georgia. The Southern Cal visit, he went and took it. I just don't see him going that far away from home. That's just my take. I ultimately think that this is Tennessee and Georgia. Georgia's kind of had the momentum, or have had the perceived momentum, but he's coming back here, and I know that's worrisome to the Bulldogs. Coming in here literally, on the same weekend that you're going to come in, he's going to be here. He'll drive after he plays Friday night. He'll drive down, be here all day Saturday, and then leave Sunday morning, and then announce Sunday afternoon. Obviously, Tennessee's going to be the last thing he sees. First home game should be a good atmosphere. Game's not too early. It's at 5 o'clock, so people will be able to have their tailgate fun, and it should be a good atmosphere. A real chance for Tennessee to come in here at the last minute and maybe steal one away from Georgia.
Yeah, but the way I look at it, Chris Cole visiting Knoxville the same weekend that he decides, I'm not saying this should be a slam dunk for Tennessee, but are you predicting Chris Cole? Are you expecting Tennessee to be the pick when he announces on Sunday? Just because why else would he take an official visit to Knoxville the same weekend he decides?
Well, because he set the date, and then Tennessee said, okay, come back and see us one last time, come that weekend. I mean, it's not like that, he had it and then set the date. He set the date and then set the official visit to Tennessee after the fact. So, again, I don't think it's a lay down. I think Georgia's very much still in this, but I think Tennessee has a real opportunity here to close this one out next weekend and have two guys from the same high school. Of course, he's teammates with Tennessee running back commit Peyton Lewis.
All right, well, call me crazy, but I think it's a good sign that Chris Cole
You're
will be
yelling, follow the
Tennessee.
visit. Hey, listen, follow the visits is never a bad thing, right?
All right, now that we're in these Tennessee-Georgia recruiting battles, we might as well talk about four-star athlete Cam McKell, top 200 prospect, and he's really an intriguing name because he stars on both sides of the football, but it seems like he's leaning more toward playing offense as this decision nears. Will this help Tennessee, who's also battling A&M, not to mention Georgia?
Absolutely. I mean, if the kid sticks to his guns, and that's to play offense, Georgia's told him they want him strictly for defense, and they don't seem to be backing off that. And at this point in the process, if they did back off of it, I think he would have serious trust issues as to whether they were being honest with him and not just telling him what he wants to hear and to eventually move him. So for my liking, I think A&M's probably Tennessee's biggest challenge as long as he sticks to his guns on wanting to play offense. If he shifts, then Georgia becomes a heavy, to me, a heavy favorite because I think defensively, Georgia probably would be the pick. But if it's staying on offense, I think Tennessee is a really trendy pick for him, and the Vols are in a good spot. He'll officially visit. It was going to be for the Georgia game in November. Mm-hmm. He's moved it up, coming into the South Carolina game at the end of the month, same weekend that Danny Akuye officially visits Tennessee. So for Cam, this is, rubber's meeting the road. Seems like fairly soon, and Tennessee seems to be trendy in that competition.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that some of these late decisions are happening earlier and earlier because, hey, why not? Everybody else is committing.
Yeah, well, people are getting spooked. It's like, I want my spot. I need a spot. I don't want to, not have a spot. And I think that a lot of schools are kind of leaning on kids that way. Like, hey, if you don't get in now, there might not be a spot for you later.
Yeah, and you want to make sure you have a spot at the school that you want to have a spot at. Somebody will always have a spot for you, but it might not be where you want to be at. All right, talking about coming off the board, hey, I know 2025, we're still in 24, but 2025 quarterbacks are committing. And the Vols, have they identified who their top target is in 2025 at the quarterback position?
Yeah, their top couple are George McIntyre and Deuce Knight. But for my liking, and you can read into, you said follow the visits, follow the coaching visits. Where was Josh Heupel out on Friday night? First night out on the road, he's in Nashville. He goes to see George McIntyre. And, George is someone who, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, he's going to see all three unofficially this fall. Will be in Alabama next weekend for the Texas game. I think he's coming to Tennessee for the Texas A&M game in early October, and then we'll go to LSU, Arkansas in November. And, to me, this is still a two-team race. It's Tennessee, Alabama. LSU's lurking, but I think they're a little bit behind Tennessee and Alabama. And you'd say follow things. Sister goes to Tennessee. Mom went to Tennessee. Tennessee's obviously made him feel like he's a huge priority. It's not a slam dunk to the Vols at all. Like, Alabama's very much in this. But at the same time, I think that his comfort level with the head coach at Tennessee is his greatest comfort level of all of his relationships in the recruiting process.
Well, George McIntyre's recruitment, I won't even say it's heating up. It is hot already. George McIntyre expected to be in studio here for an interview with the Inside Scoop this week. I've been communicating with him back and forth. So hopefully I can get a little bit more insight into what George McIntyre's thinking. But regardless, 2025 QBs are coming off the board. So Austin Price from Volquest, thank you for stopping by the Inside Scoop today and talking a little Tennessee recruiting.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.